Do we even need a digital bank? Can digital banks really work in a somewhat overbanked market, developed market like Singapore? We now have over 1 million clients in Singapore. So effectively 20% of Singapore are banking with us.
Right.
Fourth largest bank in Singapore among all banks. Our credit cards are now being used upwards of 21 times every month. Our deposit balances grew 2.5 times to reach almost $4 billion.
We're here at Money 2020 Asia today, and I'm very pleased to be joined by Dwight, who is the CEO of Trust Bank. Now, Trust Bank is, of course, one of the most impressive digital banks in the region. You guys launched in 2022, and in 3 years, you're now the 4th largest bank in Singapore with over 1 million customers. So what an interesting and what an impressive feat, and very glad to be sitting down with you to get a sense of how you guys got here and to get a sense of where you guys are headed. Now, I remember when the Monetary Authority of Singapore issued the digital banking license, a lot of us were speculating, a lot of us were thinking about how the introduction of guys like you will shape the market, how it will shake out things in the banking space, right? Now that we are 2 to 3 years into your journey, how has Trust Bank reshaped the market in Singapore, you think?
As you remember, before we went live, there was a fair narrative going on in the industry.
Yeah.
Do we even need a digital bank? Yeah, and then there was this skepticism around, can digital banks really work in a somewhat overbanked market, developed market like Singapore? But if you fast forward a little over 2 years, you can see the impact that we have created. We now have over 1 million clients in Singapore. So effectively 20% of Singapore are banking with us.
Right.
And not just number of clients that we have, but if you look at the engagement levels on what they're doing with us, we are seeing very high levels of engagement. So I feel clearly we have proven the impact that we have created in Singapore. But even more than the number of clients, we feel that we have played a very important role in uplifting the experience standards of banking. Now, we are built on a very modern technology stack, which has been built grounds up in the last 4 years. And this has really enabled us to innovate, enabled us to question the status quo that may have existed in the market. So if you look at our onboarding times, for example, from the time you start onboarding a client to the time that you complete the onboarding with a working credit or debit card in your wallet is under 3 minutes.
Wow.
Or if you look at some of the innovations that we have done, for example, Singapore's first digital supplementary card, a loan disbursement in under 60 seconds. Or if you look at the gamified personal financial management, and I can go on. These are all examples of how we have pushed the boundaries, how we have challenged the status quo, and at the end of the day, delivered a much better experience for clients. So I would say both in terms of scale, as well as uplifting the innovation and client experience standards, we have really clearly created an impact in the market.
I think it's so fascinating. I think sometimes we take for granted. I remember being alive for a time where I have to deliberately drive over to the bank, sit for a couple of hours just to open an account. Right? And I think sometimes we forget, because it's so normalized, we forget how impressive 3 minutes actually is. And you spoke about some of the engagement numbers with Trust Bank, and I think a lot of times the industry tends to take user base as a vanity metric, and of course that's not a great measure of the success of the digital bank, right? What are some metrics that you can share with us when it comes to the user engagement on Trust Bank?
So absolutely. I think scale is really the step number one. You need to get scale, but in no way that is the destination, right? It's really about the engagement that you see. And we're really encouraged by the very high levels of engagement that we are seeing across our products. So for example, our credit cards are now being used upwards of 21 times every month.
Almost daily.
Almost daily, that's right. So people are using it for everyday expenses. We have a very strong proposition on travel. We are the only credit card which has no markup, no Forex markup. And as a result, people are using it for their travel needs. And as you know, Singaporeans travel 4 to 6 times every year. And if you look at our deposit balances and asset balances, they have grown very fast. Last year, our deposit balances grew 2.5 times to reach almost $4 billion, and similar very fast growth on assets as well. So clearly, across metrics, we are seeing very strong levels of engagement, which gives us a lot of encouragement for the future.
What would you say are some of the key driving factors to this kind of healthy metrics you are looking at, from the engagement to the user base?
Yeah, I would say there are two strong factors. Number one will be the ecosystem. Now, as you know, we are an ecosystem bank. So our partner NTUC has diverse interests, from supermarkets, groceries, to food services, to insurance.
And Singaporeans love
Singaporeans love NTUC, and almost every Singaporean interacts with NTUC in some form or the other, sometimes daily. Now, we are integrated in every part of this ecosystem. And this is very important, because if you want to save on groceries, the only way you can save now is through trust. If you want to get privileges on food, the only way you get it is through trust. So naturally, clients want to have the Trust Bank account and the Trust credit card in order to get access to those privileges. So this is a very important part why we are seeing high engagement levels. But the second reason is really the experience. And we are quite obsessed about client experience, and we always feel that the only reason we exist as a new bank is to provide a level of experience that they have not seen so far.
Otherwise, what's the point?
Otherwise, what's the point? And we call it being delightfully different. How do we make every interaction so delightful that the client wants to come back and engage with us? And what we are seeing is that that's really paying off. So for example, today, over 70% of our clients are coming in as referrals from another client.
Okay.
Now, word of mouth acquisition, word of mouth referrals are the best source of acquisition. You are only willing to refer someone only when you enjoy the experience.
Unless you don't like the person.
I hope not. So as a result, we are delighted with that. And this to us is almost a proof point that clearly this experience is resonating with clients, and that's why they are willing to refer their friends and family.
I think you brought up an important point, right? Because just because your services permeate the lives of your customer, if your user experience is not great, there's only so much that people are willing to tolerate for a good deal. So all these kind of things kind of have to come hand in hand. So now that you guys have reached some of your early milestones that you kind of set out to do, which I remember was to be fourth largest by end of last year, which you did, what is the next key priorities for the bank as the bank starts to mature?
Yeah. Now, Steve, number one, we are delighted to be here and of course very humbled to be 1 million client, fourth largest bank in Singapore among all banks. The very strong start we have got gives us a very strong foundation to build on, and it also shows us the path forward. We have gotten a lot of clients, we are seeing strong levels of engagement. Now we would want to meet the client needs holistically. We believe that right now we are meeting a lot of their needs when it comes to savings, when it comes to transacting, when it comes to borrowing. Going forward, we'd want to expand this, and we want to meet all financial needs of the client, which means we want to meet your needs, for example, on investing.
Right.
Now, just 2 months back, we launched Trust Invest, which is our first investment proposition, but we would want to expand on that and have a complete end-to-end investment solution available to the client. So we are really looking forward to, number one, expanding our product range. Number two, making sure that we are really solving all of the various pain points of the client. And number three, we become the single provider end-to-end for the complete financial journey of the client.
Very cool. For those of our audience that may not be familiar with Trust Invest, what does that product look like? What kind of propositions do you offer your customers?
Yeah, so Trust Invest is a very interesting discovery journey that we went through. We always knew that we wanted to create an investment proposition. But then when we look in the market, we see that there are many players who have tried to build a digital investment proposition, but it has not worked, right? And for a variety of reasons. Now, when we speak to clients, especially in a market like Singapore, people know investing. People know they should invest. But in general, people are not investing enough. And when we ask them why not, and when we deep dive into it, we find out there are a couple of reasons. And the most important reason that comes out is complexity.
Yeah.
There is just too many choices.
So overwhelming.
That's
honestly.
right. And people, that exactly the word, people feel overwhelmed. There is so many complexities, there is jargons that they don't understand. And sometimes you are just paralyzed with the choices in front of you. So you just take the easy way out and put your money in a fixed deposit. And the
Which is
reality,
not the best in terms of return.
in some way, would you like your salary going down every year? But that's what happens when you put in a fixed deposit, because it doesn't keep up with inflation, so your money actually goes down every year. So what the learning we got from there is that why don't we create a proposition which is radically simple? It will actually distill down all of the various complexities in very simple choices to the customer. And depending on your risk profile and depending on the returns that you would like to target, you choose the product that you want. So we worked with Aberdeen and created 5 distinct funds for the clients. And these go all the way from a very low risk money market fund to more wealth funds where you are growing your wealth over time.
Very much tailored to your profile, your risk appetite, your stage in life.
That's right. And we made the discovery and the investment journey very, very simple. So we say it takes exactly 5 taps and 5 minutes to get started on investing. And $100 is all you need. And what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of clients getting started on their investment journey because it is so simple and it is something that makes investing very simple to understand.
I think investing is so important because I think so many countries are going through a retirement crisis, right? And we need to take charge of our own wealth and our own retirement. I want to take a step back and talk about what you guys have achieved so far. And I think perhaps one of the factors that may have contributed is the fact that you guys operate under a full bank license, right? Do you think having that kind of flexibility granted by the regulation puts you guys ahead of your other digital banking competitors in Singapore?
You are right. We operate under a full banking license, and that is different from the digital bank licenses. We choose to operate as a digital bank. Yeah. Now, why did you get the license? We have the full bank license, and this is a reflection and a recognition of Standard Chartered being a significantly rooted foreign bank in Singapore. Now, this is a reflection of Standard Chartered's investment in the market. It's a reflection of the regulatory standing and the reflection of the very strong governance and risk management practices. Now, because we are operating under a full bank license, we are held to exactly the same standards of risk management and governance as any full banks are. So clearly, we take this very seriously. We feel that it's almost like you have to solve your client problems through innovation and technology, but the basics of banking don't change. You still need to have very strong pillars on risk management, on governance, and security. And this is the right confluence of factors that we feel makes us so far successful.
And I guess it speaks to the trust.
That's exactly right.
In Trust Bank, right? So the other goal that you stated, I believe, is that you guys wanted to be profitable by this year, right? I think the general kind of standard in the industry is about 5 years, and you guys have been, I guess, operating for about 3 years. What are some of the main levers that's helping you guys get to this level ahead of schedule, I think, compared to some of the other digital banks? Can you speak to us about that?
Sure. We went live in September 2022, so it's been 2.5 years, and we are...
Not even a full 3 yet.
That's right, that's right. And we are very pleased with the progress so far. Now, we believe we are seeing strong progress towards profitability. Number one, clearly we spoke about the scale. Number two, we spoke about the high levels of engagement that we are seeing. And this is what is going to drive our path to profitability. Now, if we look at hard metrics, we are seeing strong growth in balances. Our deposit balances last year was 2.5 times what it was the year before. Our credit card unsecured balances are also over 2 times what it was the year before. So deposit balances have now reached almost 4 billion Singapore dollars. Credit card balances, unsecured loan balances have reached 800 million Singapore dollars. So these are large numbers. And obviously these are going to help us in our path to profitability. We're also diversifying our income sources. We are distributing insurance. We have now started Trust Invest, which is also going to drive our new sources of revenue. So clearly we are making strong progress. At this stage, we believe we will be on our path to profitability sometime next year, but hopefully it goes well. That's right.
But you guys got a lot done in these 2.5 years. There's so many new products that you've rolled out. And you know, from our conversation earlier, I understand you've been with StanChart for previously, before Trust Bank, I think 17 years?
That's right.
That's a long time. And we've seen a lot of StanChart folks running digital banks for some reason, and to a good degree of success. So what is it in StanChart that helps shape your philosophy and your approach towards running trust?
Yeah, no, first of all, yes, you were right. Quite a few alumni are in various digital banks. That's right. And many of them are great friends. As you said, I spent a long time in Standard Chartered. And I'm really quite honored and quite privileged to have had strong foundations in banking, in risk management, in product management, in financial understanding through my time in Standard Chartered. Now, whether you work in a digital bank or a legacy bank, the banking does not change. Fundamentals don't change. They remain the same. And actually, in some way, if you don't understand the fundamentals, that's when you get into trouble later on. Yeah. So as a result, I'm very privileged to have that background. At the same time, my time that I spent in a large bank also gave me understanding of some of the pain points that clients face. And I always felt that if we had access to cutting edge technology, maybe we can reimagine some of these experiences. So coming into Trust, having the opportunity to create a new digital bank from scratch really gave me that opportunity. So we could reimagine some of the experiences. We could see how we can use the power of new technology along with data to really recraft experiences that are completely new, innovative, and delights the client. So I would say, yeah, it's a combination of both the banking knowledge, the foundations of risk management, combined with technology that has helped me to grow as a leader and helped me keep up.
Yeah. It must be such a fun stage of your career, because I can imagine in the 17 years that you were in StanChart, you're looking at things and sometimes maybe you're just wishing, I wish I could tear it all down, redo the whole thing and reshape the experience completely. And being in Trust Bank, I guess you had the opportunity to do that without needing to tear anything down, right? You can just build everything to your vision and your team's vision on how to serve customers a little bit better. I'm curious though, because I know in Hong Kong, StanChart has also seen good success with Mox as well. How much of those experiences are shared across border in your process of building up and designing Trust Bank?
Yeah, we have a digital bank, Mox, in Hong Kong, who actually went live 2 years before we did. And this has been absolutely invaluable to us. Yeah. Mox and Trust, we operate independently. We have different shareholders and we have independent boards. But we are very close in terms of sharing experiences, in terms of sharing our learnings. And what we find out is, number one, clearly the technology sharing, practices of technology helps, right? Because we learn from each other. But much more importantly, what helps is what pitfalls do we avoid?
Oh, yeah.
The reality
we have to learn the same
That's exactly right.
Twice, right.
That's exactly right. The reality is we all talk about what has worked well, but there are many things which has not gone well.
Yeah.
And why do you want to repeat those mistakes? Why don't you repeat those errors? And we are so pleased, so thankful to Mox for being so open with their sharing. And that in some way has accelerated our learning and helped us to grow much faster than it would have been otherwise.
Probably help you guys to avoid quite a lot of heartaches and whatnot. And I think it really helps the fact that Singapore and Hong Kong shares a lot of similarity with being a market that's a financial hub and a population that's very, very well banked, right? So the propositions, the thinking also, I'm sure you can draw some similarities. Now, it's been 2.5 years and you are approaching the 3rd year anniversary for Trust Bank. As the bank reaches the 3rd year, what's next for you guys?
First of all, very thankful for where we are right now. Yeah, being the 4th largest bank is the stuff of dreams, and we are really happy to have gotten there. But the way we look at it is that we are in a long marathon, and in some way we are still on the first lap of the marathon, right? So very happy with the progress, but it's a long way for us to go. So we want to always stay as a startup, always have that spirit of trying to innovate, trying to solve real client problems, and trying to really make an impact in the market. So what's next for us? Number one, we want to become the 4th bank in Singapore, not just 4th largest bank, but the next local bank in Singapore.
Right.
So where we believe over time, we will see more and more clients moving their primary banking relationships over to us. We would want over time to have the one-stop shop for all your financial needs. And we want to expand our product offerings as a result, all the way from saving, transacting, investing, borrowing. We also feel that we have this strong advantage of data. As a digital native bank, our data infrastructure is very modern. We have access to real-time data. And that really allows us to, number one, to analytics. But number two, now with AI, you can unlock value that you could not have done earlier. And we would really want to work on that to ensure that, number one, we are being very productive, but number two, we are able to create new innovations, new experiences that don't exist yet in the market.
And I think one of the advantages that people don't think about as a digital bank is the fact that every interaction that you have with your customer is a data point, right? And I'm quite interested to follow up with you on our next interview to see how you guys are leveraging this data to create better experiences. With that, Dwight, I'm so thankful for your time and giving us a behind-the-scene look at what it was like to build Trust Bank. It was a pleasure having you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. It was really great talking to you.